Hi everyone, welcome to Development Hell. Sorry about that. Today we're going to learn how to use regular consumer VR hardware to do motion capture with Unity. You should be able to record the movement from your headset or hand controllers and repurpose it into your own animations. I'm using the Oculus Quest 2, which may now be called the Meta Quest 2 when this video comes out. I've also tested this with my old HD Vive, and they both work just fine. It should work with just about any VR headset that can be used with Unity, which at this point I think is pretty much all of them. We don't need any paid assets for this, just a recent version of Unity. I'm not great at making animations, so being able to use Mocap brings a far more natural performance than I can animate by hand. And it doesn't just have to be a character's head and hands. For example, I use the controller movements to animate robot tendrils in my upcoming game, Alien Extraction.
Alien Extraction, wishlist on Steam now.
That was weird. FYI, for experienced Unity developers, there's a quick start in the video description. Okay, so we're going to start a new Unity project for this. I'm going to be using the VR template and just give it an appropriate name, and then smash that create button. You should now be able to press the play button, put on your headset and controllers, and see them moving in the scene. If this is your first time using Unity and VR together, you may need to tweak things a little bit. I've added some useful links if you get stuck in the video description. First things first, we'll want to install the Unity recorder from the package manager. Reading the docs, you can use the Unity recorder to capture and save data during play mode. In our case, we want to use it to capture animation data and save it in Unity's .anim format. If you wanted to capture the animation and use it for other programs, I haven't tried converting the .anim format to other formats, but please leave a comment if you get this working. The Unity recorder is actually really useful if you're interested in letting players capture in-game GIFs, record video or audio clips, and it's fully scriptable, so I recommend taking a look for other uses as well. Okay, to install, we want to go to Package Manager, then Packages, select Unity Registry. Near the bottom, you should find Unity Recorder. So we want to go to the bottom right and click Install. This will take a few moments for Unity to get the package and install it, and then we should be good to go with the recording. We now want to add the recorder to the editor, so if you go to Window, General, and then down to Recorder and Recorder Window, this should pop up the recorder window. Now just drag and drop it somewhere useful into your editor. We now need to configure the recorder. First off, we're going to add a new recorder of the animation clip type. This works by recording changes to a game object over time. In this case, we're going to record the headset movement by tracking the main camera game object. The other settings are for output file location and the output file name. We're not going to change these just for the moment. If we hit the start recording button, it starts play for us. I'll now put on my headset and jiggle it about a bit. The recorder should hopefully be recording these moments as I make them. Okay, I'll now press the stop recording button, and if I go and look in the recordings folder in my assets, we should see the newly created animations. Before going any further, I usually like to check the animation file. And as we can see, there's been loads of nodes recorded, so something must have worked. Now we're ready to actually apply the animation to something, so I'm going to make a new scene. Go to Scenes, Create, and then Scene. Let's call this Animation Example. Great. Before we get started with playing around with the animation, I'm just going to want to put a floor, some background props, and adjust the camera in the scene, so I'm going to fast forward through that now. The scene is finished. I've added some background green objects just so we can reference the movement to something, and a blue planar floor, and I've just moved the camera as well so you can see everything in the shot. Now we get to the fun part, which is actually animating a thing in your scene using your mocap data. So I'm going to create an empty object to contain our animation. Let's call it animated head for now. Pretty rubbish name, but it'll do. I'm going to add a 3D object to this, which is the thing we're actually going to be applying the animation to. I'll suggest using something with visible edges so you can see the rotation as well as the positional movement. So I'm going to use a cube for this. I'll make the cube a child of the parent animated head, and I'm going to give it a separate color, red, just so it's a bit easier to see. Okay, great. That looks centered in scene. Fantastic. Let's apply the animation. First things first, we want to select the cube part of the animated head, and we're going to add an animator to it. Animator. There we are. So we need an animation controller to run the animations. So if we go to create, animation controller. Great, let's call this fake head. Okay, open up the animation controller, and all we're going to want to do is drag and drop the recorded animation into the animation controller. Okay, now we want to add the animation controller to the animator on the cube object, and also we want to click apply root motion. This will stop the camera offset of, I think, roughly 1.3 meters that it gives the headset. So let's try playing this and see what we get. Okay, so we can see the janky head movements that I recorded earlier being replayed on the cube. Fantastic. Success. Using these basic steps, you can start to map captured animation to a variety of different scenarios. If this video is popular, I'd love to do a follow-up to cover recording multiple objects, i.e. headset and controllers, at the same time using object hierarchy, remapping the recorded animations to different objects, using C# scripting to make the recording process more efficient, and detailing the workflow scripts I use to capture large amounts of VR mocap in a time-effective manner. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, please go to the link in the description and wishlist Alien Extraction. It's an epic VR puzzle game that uses this very mocap technique. If you do end up using this for anything interesting like a game or animation, please leave me a link in the comments. I'd love to see it. Cheers!